Yeah, we are.
Here we are, being back with our shenanigans. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Daph.
How goes it?
It goes.
It goes?
Mm-hmm.
Just like the wind blows, it goes?
It's Friday.
TGIF.
Thank God, yes. That's what that means.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, clarification.
Not thank God, yes.
Thank God it's Friday.
What's your disturbing fact? Tell me all about it.
Oh, shit. Are you ready?
I'm ready for
I thought
it.
you were going to, say stuff.
What would I have said?
I don't fucking know.
Yay, I turned old.
You already said that. That was last week.
Yeah, but it hadn't happened yet, and now it's happened.
You're so last week. Okay.
You can keep making faces or you can speak.
So you know
this
how...
is not a visual podcast still.
Still just audio?
Still just audio.
So you know how it's a common myth, I guess, that George Washington had wooden teeth?
Yes.
He did not.
Okay.
Because that's not a thing. So,
all right.
False teeth. Okay, so earliest records of dentures is from around the 7th century BC when...
Jeez, that's a long time ago.
When Etruscans, some people...
Some people.
Etruscans. When Etruscans fashioned dentures from animal and human teeth, and this art ended when their civilization ended. So, that's why I can't pronounce it, because they're gone. So
because they're gone.
So I never heard about it or them. But anyway, so dentures reemerged around the 1700s because in the 1700s, sugar was well known through Europe, and as a result,
people's teeth were falling out.
Yeah, there was more tooth decay, and tooth-saving techniques such as root canals and stuff were not developed yet. So this meant that a lot of people were missing teeth, and, so they wanted to have false teeth because they wanted to have nice-looking teeth, including George Washington, one of our founding fathers.
The first president of the United States of America.
That is correct. And although modern technology allows for comfort and ease of use of dental dentures, the old school 1700s dentures were not so comfortable, and they were made from different materials such as ivory that came from hippopotami, and walruses, walrus.
I think walruses is correct.
Okay.
I also think hippopotamus is correct.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Me too. Only a hippopotamus will do.
Right? Or a polar bear.
I was going to say, I already have a hippopotamus, and she's going to be a whole year old.
Oh, we know, fud. Or like elephant ivory. But these teeth tended to decay, break apart because they're ivory, natural. Because they're not, yeah. And they rarely looked natural, but they got the job done temporarily, but also they couldn't use them to eat with them because they weren't comfortable in their mouths and stuff. So near the end of the 18th century, real teeth started to be a thing. And so what they call Waterloo teeth were the best dentures, and they were made from human teeth. And the source of these teeth ranged from robbed graves, peasants pulling their own teeth, looking to make a quick buck, and even dentists' collections where they had to pull people's teeth. So, ew.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of fucked up, and that's really sad that people are pulling out their own teeth.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But anyway,
Is this still used today? Real human teeth?
No, they're fake now. They're false teeth. They're
I don't mine are. Which I was going to say, I feel personally victimized in this right now because I have fake teeth, a lot of them.
No, now they're really actually fake teeth. But the reason that they were called Waterloo teeth was because the death of 50,000 men at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. What's the word I'm looking for? Okay, so soldiers marching at Waterloo were young and they were healthy, and so their teeth were ideal for denture making.
So they killed all those people and took their teeth?
Well, there's 50,000 of them killed just in the battle. And so because they were already dead, they just took their teeth. So, and it became fashion in Britain where people wore the Waterloo teeth as a trophy because they had won the Battle of Waterloo,
Right.
So, but anyway, yeah, so that's it. It's pretty gross that they used real people's teeth.
I think it's pretty interesting that the old people who died and their civilization's gone, the name that you don't know how to pronounce, I have no idea what they're called, that they used animal teeth.
Yeah, well, and
that makes me think of the commercial doggy dentures, but then like flipped, like humans with like rabbit teeth or something.
That'd be awesome. But also when you're pulling teeth to use them for dentures, then the dentists have to like cut off the roots and do all
saw them,
saw them and make them look like good teeth
and attach them to something to stick in your mouth.
Yep, exactly. But again, not comfortable for eating and stuff, just purely for vanity.
I understand that because when I had a flipper, that was not comfortable for eating, but it made me really insecure to take out my flipper because I was born without half the teeth in my mouth.
Not half of them, only 6 of them.
4.
See, look, I was over exaggerating.
Only 4 of them. But it made me really insecure to take out my flipper, so I'd eat with it even though it wasn't comfortable. And that housed my teeth.
Yes. Well, it is what it is.
But thank God I never did a Maryland bridge, because that sounds painful.
Yeah, and it ruins your teeth that you have. And then you might have to have Waterloo teeth.
Yeah. I might have to have Waterloo teeth.
Yes. But now, acrylic resins are used for fake teeth.
Right.
But anyway, isn't that disgusting?
That's very disgusting.
Yeah. I might rather have no teeth than some dead person's teeth.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd have a dead person's teeth over no teeth because I've been there and had no teeth.
Speaking from experience,
I would have taken a dead person's teeth any day.
Even if you had to harvest them yourself?
Well, that's different.
Well, let me rethink that.
I might just wait out for the waste collectors that come to dentist's office.
Or like the poor people, peasants. I don't know why I call them peasants. The poor people that were pulling out their own teeth.
Well, if this was today's day and age, and I think about downtown Denver and the kind of people that pull out their teeth, I'm good on that.
Well, it was the same.
So I'm kind of selective here, I guess, about whose teeth I want.
It's the same. It was the same,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just different outfits.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. It's like how we always talk about murder and all of the just
was
everything.
Mass media thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just because nobody knew about it. It took a lot longer for it to get around.
Right.
Yeah. But you still weren't necessarily safe playing in the woods or riding your bike after dark.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah.
Because that shit still happened.
It did still happen. Nobody just knew about it.
Or not right away anyway.
Right. Abraham Lincoln wasn't tweeting about it.
That's true. It wasn't like, yo, guess what? George Washington, teeth not real.
And not wooden.
And not wood either.
Nope.
He duped you guys.
Okay. He had Waterloo teeth.
Right. Yes, I think I'd prefer those.
Okay.
And over splinters too. Ouch.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, and I don't know. I always thought about it, because I always heard that too, that he had wooden teeth. And I could just picture, the top of a picket fence.
Just 2 of those come together.
Yeah. And they just make it on a super small scale.
That'd be creepy as fuck.
And and they just put a string or something.
You know what that reminds me
Piece of wire.
Is when little kids draw pictures of scary things and they draw a stick figure with the teeth and they're just fucking slashed lines. That's what that makes me think of.
That's funny.
And that's creepy as fuck. That's so funny.
Yeah, well, wooden teeth, picket fence, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. So today is Haunted Key West Part 3.
Nice.
Yeah. So this episode is brought to you by our own trauma. It's mine and my mom's trauma, I should say. Our family's trauma about Key West. Before we jump into what it's about, first we're going to ask Robert for permission to share his story.
Yeah, totally.
So, Robert, may we please have permission to share your story?
How do we know if he gives it? What if he says no and we don't know he said no and then...
I think he said yes because we're cool and he and I have loved each other for a long ass time.
Okay.
You're that's not weird.
Yeah, I'm well, I guess we'll find out if he said no.
Yeah, I guess so. So the story goes that there was...
What story?
This is the story. I'm unfolding it to you. then I have to laugh at my notes. Because I said, so the story goes, there was a young old boy.
Oh, shit. A young old boy.
A young old boy. Actually, young boy.
Who wasn't old?
Who wasn't old.
Hence the term boy.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
Whose name was Robert Eugene Otto, but he went by his middle name, Eugene, or Gene for short. So I'm probably going to be calling him both. So just know that that's him.
Yeah, like in that one thing that I did last week, the giggling granny, and I kept going back forth between the last name and first name of the one guy.
Yeah.
It was real confusing.
That was real confusing. So it was 1904, and Eugene, he was 4 at this time. He was given a doll by a woman who was believed to be of Bahamian descent. Mm-hmm. Or by his grandfather on his return from Germany.
What the fuck?
I've seen instances of both, but we'll keep diving into this.
Okay.
So,
because I've never heard the grandpa Germany thing.
I hadn't heard it either before this, but
I only heard about the
there's
Bahamian.
some reliable sources that said that.
Okay.
That argued that point.
Okay.
So this doll, which Eugene, he named Robert.
Which was Eugene's first actual first name.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Was a life-size doll, like about the size of a toddler. And he was made of fabric and stuffed with straw. He wears a sailor's outfit and has a small stuffed puppy.
Yeah, he's so cute.
And this outfit once belonged to Eugene, actually. I didn't know that.
Okay, so
That he's wearing Eugene's clothes.
So was he naked when he got the doll?
I have no idea, but he's wearing Eugene's clothes now.
So, okay. So that's why I think the Bahamian lady's the one who gave it to him, because wasn't she like their housekeeper or something?
We're going to keep going for it. Stop diving ahead.
Okay.
I have all of your checks and balances in here. Don't you worry.
Okay. Well, you always ask me a lot of questions.
But I'm getting to those points that you're asking me about. So from robertthedoll.org, it says, Robert is a one-of-a-kind handmade Steiff company by the Steiff Company of Germany around the turn of the century. Standing 40 inches tall and stuffed with wood wool known as Excelsior, he is dressed in a sailor suit and once bore painted features not unlike those of a jester.
A jester?
A jester.
Like
Sorry.
a court jester?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So his unusual size indicates that he may have been fashioned to be in the image of a young boy who might have this doll.
Not an old young boy.
Not a young old boy. So fun fact, this company, the Steiff Company of Germany, is the same company that invented the teddy bear.
Aw.
I just thought that was kind of cool, and I'd throw that in there.
That is a fun fact.
So it says that his skin is imperfect. His face is covered in nicks, chips, and holes. He has large, beady black eyes and an eerie, stone-cold expression. In his right hand, he holds his own toy, which is a plush puppy that has like big old eyes, whose cheery expression makes Robert look like even creepier, like this happy puppy, and then Robert.
Right, more sinister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people believe that the doll was gifted to him by a voodoo practitioner who worked with the family in retaliation for wrongdoings. The most prevalent, though, anecdote about the story is that the doll was a harmless gift from his grandpa.
A harmless gift?
Yeah, but then it was hexed by the family servant because of, like, something wrongful happened to her.
She was wronged?
She was wronged.
Okay.
So...
By the family.
By the family. So that's the most common, like, take on it, I guess, is that it was actually a gift from the grandpa. However, people say that they don't actually know how the grandpa would have gotten his hands on a one-of-a-kind doll, even though it did, like, report that he was coming back from Germany at this point. Like, the timeline made sense. But they don't know how he would actually get his hands on that.
Okay. Well, because I'm like, well, if it's a one-of-a-kind thing, because it's not like it was mass-produced like the teddy bears.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just a one and done.
One and done. So Robert the doll actually wasn't even meant to be a toy for kids. It was supposed to be a window display piece for, like, clowns.
A window display piece for clowns?
Like a clown display?
I don't know what a clown display is.
I don't know. Like... we're thinking like the late 1800s, early 1900s here, right? When this doll was produced.
Mm-hmm.
That's around the time of like the freak shows and stuff like that. So he probably was supposed to be a part of that kind of stuff.
Okay. A clown display. Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's a window piece.
Okay.
So
That's super creepy, though, because clowns are kind of creepy.
Yeah, so that just makes this whole thing even weirder.
Yeah, for sure.
So the family lived in what's now known as the artist house.
I love that place.
I do too. It's beautiful.
I would totally live there.
I would totally not probably live there, but I'd stay there. I would live in a different house. I actually have my favorite house on the island.
Me too.
But
I would stay there.
The artist house
I would
isn't
live
one
there.
of them, which is located at 534 Eaton Street. And it was built between 1890 and 1898. So it's old.
Mm-hmm. And it's in great shape. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's very nicely restored and been kept.
Maintained.
Yeah. So Robert the doll was obviously named after Gene. We already talked about this. His first name is Robert Eugene Otto.
Mm-hmm.
And so Gene, he became obsessed with Robert. He made him his own room in the attic that had toys and furniture, and he was the one who gifted Robert the stuffed puppy.
Okay.
So Gene was obviously infatuated with Robert, and the two, I guess it seemed like in the beginning, they had a very playful relationship. He brought Robert everywhere. He talked about him in like first person as if he wasn't a doll. He was just Robert to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like humanizing his doll,
Mhm.
right? So obviously it seemed like an average doll, even though the relationship was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously we wouldn't be here if some weird shit didn't start happening.
Right.
So one night when Gene was 10, he was sleeping in his bed and he woke up to find Robert sitting on the end of his bed staring at him. And then he started screaming. And then he woke up his mother screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And so she heard Gene screaming for help and could hear furniture being like moved and turned in his room and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was crying for help and begging for his mom to come rescue him. So when she was finally able to open the locked door,
Mm-hmm.
she saw Gene. He was all curled up like in his bed, like just like totally frightful.
Mm-hmm. Like fetal position?
Yeah.
How
like just
old was
scared
he?
to death. 10.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
So at this point he was an old boy.
He was an old young boy.
Okay.
And Robert, he was just chilling at the foot of the bed. And then Gene looked at his mom and said, Robert did it. And that's all that came out of his mouth.
Okay.
Yep. So every time something devious would happen in the home, Gene would always say, Robert did it. It was Robert. Robert did it. It wasn't me. Robert did it. It's like the most common phrase associated with this whole thing that we're talking about.
Did it.
Robert did it.
Yeah.
I have a sticker that says Robert did it. So the toys that Gene loved to play with were often found mutilated, cut up, shredded to pieces.
Wow.
Yeah. And no one believed Gene until the family also started experiencing weird shit happening.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ottos, they swore that they could hear Robert giggling and walking around the house. And they would often hear Gene upstairs talking to Robert, but then getting a response back with a totally different voice.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
They also said that they saw the doll speak and witnessed him changing like his facial expressions.
Ooh.
Yeah. Weird, I know. I hope this is some stuff you haven't heard before, because some of this is stuff I hadn't heard before.
Some of it is and some of it isn't.
Yeah. We've been to Key West a lot of times and met Robert a lot of times, which we will talk about, but I want to continue on with the story.
Okay.
So one day a man who was walking past the house said that he saw a young boy go from one window to another window outside, like scaling the roof. Like,
Oh, shit.
walking from one window to the other. And Gene wasn't home at this time. And so
Okay.
the family was like, thank you. We're not crazy.
Right. It was Robert.
Right? Robert did it.
Hmm.
So eventually Gene grew up, right? People do that.
They do.
He grew
Young
up.
boys turn into young old boys.
Yeah, exactly. So he went on to become a very celebrated artist, obviously, hence the name The Artist House.
Mm-hmm.
But he went to study art in cities like Chicago, New York, and Paris. And while he was studying at the Sorbonne, he met his eventual wife,
Mm-hmm.
who was named Annette Parker, but everyone refers to her as Anne. So we're going to call her Anne. So in 1930, Gene and Anne, they returned to Key West, where they lived in the childhood home with the Artist House.
Mm-hmm.
But even like as their newlyweds, I guess like his attention like pretty quickly shift back to Robert when he got home
Ooh.
from his wife. So Anne, she allowed Gene to continue caring for Robert,
Mm-hmm.
but said she wasn't a fan of him. So some stories, they said that Jean already had the room in the attic made, like we said earlier, right? But then there were other accounts that said that Anne had requested it for like him to have his own room.
I remember hearing that Anne requested for Robert to have his own room because Jean would take him to their room.
Yeah, but then Jean also told Anne that Robert requested to have his own room, his own space.
Alrighty then.
So Jean got Robert a chair and he positioned it in front of the window to look down at the street so Robert could, look outside for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And passing school children often avoided the house because they swore that they could see Robert like in his chair one minute and then not there the next.
Oof, creepy.
And other visitors of the house would describe how his like facial expression changed according to the conversation in the room.
Mm-hmm.
There's reports of him moving from one side of the room to the other, giggling that, this is not like no one else is here.
Right.
There's giggling.
Like you're all...
That's like I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So there were many times that Jean would paint in his favorite room of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have Robert sitting next to him, like as if he was painting as well. They were just painting together.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
It is kind of cute. I do that with my dog.
I know you do.
But we don't paint. So... passerbys, they often said that they would feel uneasy about the doll looking down at them. And it even came to the point where neighbors wouldn't go past the house.
Wow.
Because they didn't like it.
Neighbors even?
Neighbors even.
Wow.
So a plumber reported hearing giggling and turned to find that Robert moved across the room. No one else was there.
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So, and she was constantly asking Jean to give the doll away, find him a new home, find him a new young buddy.
I feel like
because
that's not going to work.
Well, it just made her feel icky,
Mm-hmm.
So during this time, though, of all this shit happening, obviously now they're starting to spiral of rumors of a haunted doll.
Mm-hmm.
People are talking about this now.
Right.
If you go past that purple house,
Well, yeah, if people don't want to go by the house and school children don't want to walk by the house and people say the doll moves and stuff, obviously word's getting around.
Right. Don't walk by that house.
Right.
Unless you want to be freaked out. So after Jean died in 1974, these are some where it gets kind of conflicting accounts. But I have one source that said that she put it on the market before she left for Key West.
The house or Robert?
The house.
Okay.
And left Robert there. But I also saw that Anne stayed in the home and locked Robert in a cedar chest in the attic.
That's what I remember hearing.
Yeah. And there's also rumors that she died from going insane after she locked Robert up.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't really know if she moved and locked him up or what happened there or if she died in the home. And then I do know eventually the home got sold because I have 3 stories here next about the home that when it was sold about the new owners. So this is the first story is Myrtle Reuter purchased the home in 1974 and then she became Robert's companion and then she moved with him to Von Pfister Street 6 years later. And then in 1994, she donated Robert to the Fort East Martello Museum, claiming that he moved around the house on his own and was haunted. And then it said that she died a few months later, but Robert remained active. Another story is that the house was purchased by the same woman, Myrtle, who found Robert hidden in the attic a few years later. For some time, it said that she heard strange noises in the attic. And then when she decided to check it out, she found Robert in his chair. And then she quickly realized that he wasn't, your average run-of-the-mill Barbie doll.
Your average run-of-the-mill 40-inch toddler doll.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's almost 4 feet tall.
But it didn't scare her. Yeah, we've seen him in person.
Yeah, no,
It's
I know.
pretty big.
Yeah, well, I'm just visual. I'm creating
He's not, he's pretty big.
He is.
He's not like a little doll.
No. Well, and that's a big toddler because I'm barely 5 feet tall.
Fuck, my cousin was damn near she's almost taller than me and she's almost 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm short.
Yeah.
So... But anyway, sorry, the toddler was just the most thing I could liken it to in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They start to get tall.
They do.
They grow up.
Some of them do. Some of them get tall. Not all of them.
Yeah, she realized it wasn't a regular doll, but she said that it didn't scare her.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, she liked Robert so much that they lived together for the next 20 years. And then she donated him to the museum.
Okay.
And the last story, that was when a new owner moved into the house. Their 10-year-old daughter found him in the attic. and that she was really happy. She had a new friend right in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But then she started to say that Robert was alive and he wanted to hurt her.
Ooh.
And she often woke up in the middle of the night, like that first time that it happened with Jean, that she was screaming, begging for help. The door was locked, and
I'm getting the chills.
Furniture would be moving.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cold, but I'm getting different chills.
Different kind of chills.
Mm-hmm.
I'll dive into my feelings about it later. And then eventually he was donated again to the museum. So those are the 3 accounts of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know which one is true, but I do know that in between it becoming like a house, or when it was from a house to the next owners,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's an inn. So they did have a separate set of owners at some point in there. But it's also said that whenever anyone would come into the house and they badmouthed Eugene, that Robert, like, his facial expression would change. Like, that was his person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, the artist house is now an inn, and it's still haunted. So, on their website, it says, over the years of our Key West bed and breakfast has been the focus of several enchanting stories. We can't vouch for all of the stories, but they have made the rounds in Key West and around the globe. Every so-called encounter was friendly and either involved the spirit of Anne or Jean's stuffed doll and alter ego friend Robert.
I like enchanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
That's a good word.
That is a good word for it. Excerpts from the Key West Citizen, September 24th, 1997, written by Ramon Rios, a Key West Citizen reporter, says, a ghost of chance. Some Key West houses have guests that aren't exactly earning their living. This is, again, from the Inn's website. I'm still reading you stuff from the Inn's website.
Okay.
It says that if you rent the turret suite at the Key West guest house, you'll find all of the usual modern conveniences, and if you're lucky, you may spot a distinctly unmodern inconvenience. All as well as you relax in the ample king-size bed, then, quietly, a semblance of a beautiful young woman walks down the meandering staircase in her wedding dress. A ghost in the room. If apparitions and the strange pique your interest, you are not alone.
I like it.
I do too. I'm not sure what all of the rates are for the rooms, but it looks like they start around about $300 to $400 a night.
Not surprising.
Not surprising. See, I would stay there, but I don't think I'd want to. I just have that house in Key West that I'm like in love with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if I was ever going to live in the Keys, that would be the one.
Mm-hmm.
Or not in Key West at all and live on a different island. Because I love Key West, though. I love it there so much. Doing this made me be like, oh, I want to go back. Okay, so anyway, I don't know what all happened. But anyway, in 1994, he wound up at the East Fort Tello Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And that is fact.
Yes, he's there.
Yes. I don't know, like, the previous owner's situation.
Like how exactly how he wound up there might be up for debate.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But regardless, he wound up there in 1994, which the museum is located at 3501 South Roosevelt Boulevard. And I took some things here, but I'm not doing like a super heavy deep dive into the museum, but I just want to do my due diligence because I really do love this museum and enjoy going to this museum.
It's very cool.
It is very cool.
The only bad thing is, like, we've never been there during the day when it's open.
Yeah.
And we always say we're going to.
We've seen it all at night, though, several times.
Not all of it, though. They only take you to the creepy stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So next time we go, we need to put it on our to-do list.
Well, when we always say we're going to, but we never do.
But we do always do something different every single time we go.
We do. But I'm always like, oh, I want to come here in the daytime when it's open.
I think it's just because it's on the other side of the island.
Oh my God, a 2x4 island. It's way over there.
Yeah, but we walk everywhere.
That is true. Again, a 2x4 island.
So we stay quite central. Anyway, so the East and West Martellos were designed to be identical forts and were designed to house up to 60 soldiers. While it's uncertain the exact type of weaponry intended for the installation at the forts, it's safe to guess that they were mirrored to have astonishing artillery located near the Fort Zachary Taylor, which is now like a beach and it's still a fort. But so aside from guns, the design of the towers called for 4 openings at the top from which soldiers would be able to fire small firearms down the tunnel or down like from the roof or whatever. Mm-hmm. And pour hot oil on invaders.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, this is what they were designed for. So when the construction began on the Fort East Martello in 1862, the United States was going through the Civil War at this point. And despite the fact that the Union actually controlled the island during the time of the war, the people of Key West were pro-Confederate. So this resulted in tensions amongst slaves, those who were free, and the pro-Confederate population and the U.S. Army, all of whom were involved in the construction of making the forts.
Alrighty then.
So
a collaborative effort of enemies?
Yeah, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes. So it said that the turmoil along with environmental conditions just led the construction to like come to a halt several times. And then in 1862, they actually finally began working on both of the Martellos. And then a yellow fever broke out in July of 1862, which then obviously like impacted the workforce.
Right. Yellow fever, not good.
Yeah, not good. So they switched from building the Martellos to switching to building coffins.
Alrighty then.
And when the temperatures then cooled, it said that they went back to working on the Martellos.
When they cooled to like 80 degrees.
Yeah. Well, they do drop, but not significantly.
No. There was a frost there one time, though.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's odd. So it said that within a year, the citadel at the West Martello was completed, while the East Martello's masonry and concrete gun platforms were set at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then yellow fever again came back into town in June of 1864, which it took a heavy toll on the army soldiers that were building the forts. And though there was a setback, the work continued, which it nearly came like very close to completion until 1865 in October, where there was a hurricane. And then like construction obviously halted, like everything just went into limbo.
Mm-hmm.
And then they never finished building them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work for two unfinished
Army forts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also no battles were ever fought like near there for the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was opened as a museum in 1950 by the Key West Art and Historical Society.
Mm-hmm.
And it was added in the 60s, I believe. I'm sorry, the 60s or the 70s to the U.S. National Register of Historic Places.
That's cool.
It is cool. But if you go there, you can see that like where they stopped the construction, like where it just like got half built.
Right.
Like I kind of always in my head, I never knew the story of it. Figured that like a hurricane knocked it out or something.
Mm-hmm.
No, they just like never finished it.
Right.
That's what happened. It wasn't.
They just were like,
it wasn't destruction on it. It was the lack of construction.
Right. Yeah. They just stopped.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But I'm with you on the whole like, what happened here?
Yeah, if you go there, you can absolutely see that. You'll notice it right away. So some of the exhibits include the Florida Keys early shipwreck salvage and cigar making industries, the metal sculptures of renegade folk artist Stanley Papio, Robert Eugene Otto's work.
Oh, cool.
And probably the second most popular exhibit within the museum, probably the second most popular story that comes out of Key West, which we're going to cover in other episodes. I'm not going to give any hints right now.
Okay.
If you know it, you know it. If not, you'll hear it in part 4 or 5.
I know it.
I know you know it.
Oh, I know you know.
Oh, I know you know, girl.
And that's the second most popular?
I would say so. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Probably.
I think Robert the Doll's probably more common.
Yeah. But that other one's real good.
It is. It's real common, too. But I'm going to give you that one another day.
Sounds good.
So
I can't wait.
Oh, no, that's a good one. I have like a different relationship to both those stories. So the museum is actually an old Civil War fort, as we already talked about. And no one died there, but there's Civil War ghosts there that haunt it, too.
Isn't that weird?
It's weird. Or I guess, I don't know if people died there or not, but no Civil War soldiers died there.
Right. Well, no, there was no
mass destruction war there.
Yeah, there was no like battle deaths.
Yes.
No casualties of war.
Yeah, so why
that's the phrase I'm looking for.
Yes, that is the phrase that you're helping me come put in my mouth. So a lot of people ask, well, if Jean died and the family is gone and it was a voodoo hex, then why the heck is the place still haunted? Well, we shall never know.
The artist house?
The artist house
doll?
And the doll.
Well, the doll, when you think that if the doll's hexed, the doll's hexed, and that's just is what it is.
Yeah, but not if it was meant to curse the family.
Well, maybe it's an everlasting gobstopper curse.
Everlasting gobstopper curse. So Robert the Doll has been featured on an exhibition that was on TAPSCon, which is a convention that was hosted by the Atlantic Paranormal Society, which was held in Clearwater, Florida in May of 2008, which was the first time he had ever left Key West in his then 104 years of existence.
Wow.
Yeah. And in October of 2015, he was taken to Las Vegas for a Travel Channel special, which I'm sure you're going to be shocked what it is, about Zach Bacon's Haunted Museum.
Oh, what?
He got to go there.
Hey, they took the doll to the museum just for a visit. Did anything happen when they took Robert out of Key West in 2008?
I didn't see anything about that. I'm sure just the usual, which we'll dive into.
Okay.
Sorry, I know I keep saying like we'll get there, but we will.
I believe you. I have faith.
Yeah, I got this. I got this in the bag. Don't worry. Like I said, Robert and I were cool. The episode originally aired as the first episode of the show Deadly Possessions, and then it came back on as the first episode of the series The Ghost Adventures Artifacts. And then a horror film franchise loosely based on the legend of Robert the Doll. The first one, called Robert, released in 2015, and now there's been 4 sequels that have followed it. The Curse of Robert the Doll in 2016, The Toymaker in 2017, The Revenge of Robert the Doll in 2018, and Robert Reborn in 2019.
Alrighty then. That's
I've
like
never
the
seen
final
any of those movies.
Final Destination, final destination, the final
destination. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen any of them, but I just like wanted to throw out there like the
It's
popularity.
a franchise. Yeah, I knew that there was the one movie, and I may have seen part of it.
Not The Boy, not that one. Not the one with Brahms, because that might be loosely based off of it. Remember, Brahms is actually a real human just fucking with the doll. Yeah.
But I do think, well,
Sorry.
maybe I just
Spoiler alert. If you've never seen that movie, it's actually not that great. Yeah, I was expecting like an actual haunted doll like Annabelle or Robert the Doll. So as soon as he moved to the museum, the staff noticed an immediate like shift in just the energy alone. Though Robert was not initially on display at the museum, actually, he started like people, the word spread about him going to that museum. And so they ended up putting him on exhibit, which once they started doing that, people's cameras, electronic devices, like, EMFs, cell phones, whatever, if you will, started malfunctioning in his presence. And soon letters began arriving addressing him and apologizing for their disrespectful behavior and asking for forgiveness. So the rules if you visit Robert: kindly ask for his permission before you take pictures with him or of him, or else.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, basically just ask for his permission. Take the pics at your own risk, but ask kindly. Or if you don't ask for his permission, then he'll fuck with you hard.
Yeah.
People have claimed after leaving the museum that they have had strings of horrible luck, including sickness, car accidents, and relationship problems, to which I'm going to turn over the mic to my mother.
Where do you want me to start? No, just kidding. So one time when we were leaving Key West, so we had been to the fort, to the museum the night before. And I can't remember what year it was, but you were little. You were a little kid, because it was in the motorhome days, or the coach, as your dad would call it. But anyway, so we're leaving Key West, and we're, when we get in the motorhome, like we lock all the doors and everything. And we were at a stoplight, and the frickin' door, like the main door to like get into the motorhome, not like the driver door or whatever, but like the one to like get in the living space.
The cabin.
The cabin, yes, if you will, the cabin. It just like flew open, and there was a sports car next to us, and the freaking door got wedged up against that sports car. And it was so weird. So we had to get out of the freaking, because like if we would have drove the motorhome forward, we would have ruined the car. And if the car would have moved forward, then it would have ripped the door off. So we had to get out of the motorhome, and the people in the car had to get out of the car. And then literally there's a whole bunch of people, and they picked the car up and moved it so that we could close the door. It's so fucking weird. So, and definitely I felt like that was a Robert moment, but I did ask permission. It was just like a weirdity that happened. It was really weird.
Yeah.
But then we were like all the way, Robert did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So clearly you didn't ask for his permission kindly or loud enough.
I guess not. But there wasn't a continual fucking with. It was just that. Maybe he didn't want us to leave the island because we're cool.
Maybe we're supposed to be at the island.
Maybe.
I always get called to go back there. Maybe that's what that's about. Maybe it's Robert saying, come back, Daphne.
And we spent so much time
God,
there.
I sound like an actual psychopath. I don't actually hear voices in my head telling me to return to Key West. I just look at pictures and go, oh, I really miss it there.
I like it. And we used to go so much that, like, people knew who we were. Like, we were so cool. No, just kidding. But
we made friends on the island.
We did.
Captain Mike.
And we would get like a locals discount when we went to some of the restaurants and stuff when we came back because we were there like every year.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice a year.
Sometimes 3 times a year.
Yeah. Yep.
I miss it. That's my place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that the only story you got?
I feel like it is. I don't remember anything else other than like, that's the big one that sticks out in my mind, but I know that there's like some weirdities with like cell phone stuff, but it was also like early cell phone days. So that kind of stuff. And
but
then
we've seen him since then.
Yeah, no, I know, but I don't think I've had anything happen with my cell phone since then. And then like, some of the pictures we've taken have been kind of creepy. So I don't think we should put those on. I think you should just get some off the internet.
Yeah.
Instead of using our pictures. And I might have actually...
Well, I have one where his face is smiling at me in the picture, like his actual picture. Like I'm with him in the picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then his reflection is making a totally different face.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a sinister face. It's just a different face.
It's just a different face than the face in the picture. Like,
yeah.
The reflection face is different than the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Than the face.
Yeah.
Face.
Face.
Say face again.
Face.
So also Robert hates being laughed at.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't either.
Because there's definitely a vibe.
Yeah. I don't even think it's like a heavy vibe though.
Well, it's not like a scary vibe. It's just a vibe. It's
like an I'm in charge and you're here.
It's an energy.
Yeah.
Like it's a living kind of energy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Like, it's not like a doll. Like, if you just go and you see, like, a Barbie doll or a whatever kind of doll, and it's just a doll, and there's, like, no life, no energy. Like, there's definitely an energy, a life energy.
Yeah.
With Robert. And he's, like, in a sealed glass case. Sorry, Daphne's making me go,
I'm like, I'm getting to all of this.
Okay, get to it.
So, aside from the dozens of apology letters that people send.
Yeah, and some of those are on display also. And they're creepy. Sorry. I'll just be over here.
I'm giving my mom the quiet coyote. Like, shut your mouth. People also send him gifts. They send him candy, money, sometimes drugs, which... I read that you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't send drugs through the mail. And I didn't know he got drugs. And why would he get drugs? He's a child.
I don't know. Well, I mean, he's 119. He'll be 120 next year.
Okay.
So he's really not a kid anymore.
Well, he's
just in a child's body.
He's a young old boy.
Yeah, he's a young old boy. Exactly.
He'll have the candy.
So my next note was it's really funny when you visit him because there's letters on display from people who... have been fucked with by him. And it's not like he's not fun. I'm not laughing at you, Robert. I'm laughing at the shit that you did to people. And they go, oh, fuck.
Right.
Yeah. And you can read these letters. Like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have taken your picture. Can you please make me stop puking for the 11th day in a row? Literally, shit like that. It's great. Robert the doll continues to taunt and scare everyone who comes to visit him, especially guests to the museum who attempt to take pictures. People have reportedly, like, their cameras just become, like, not working, and then when they like leave Robert's area they'll start working again, or sometimes just the museum altogether they'll stop working.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, after they've seen Robert though.
Mm-hmm.
So he sits inside of a glass case, like I was saying.
No, like I was saying, and you shushed me. Sorry.
Or like my mom was saying, yeah, and I shushed her. That too. But
that too.
That also happened. Or didn't, because I didn't say it yet. I just had it in my notes to get to say.
Sorry.
So he sits inside of a glass case, but staff members report that they hear giggling coming out of the case, and they see him put his hands on the glass sometimes.
Oof.
Yeah, and his facial expression changes, like that picture of Robert and I.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to ask you to describe the picture, but you already talked about it.
Okay.
And I talked about it too.
We discussed it.
So I actually think Robert the Doll is really cool.
I do too.
And I've met him several times, as we've already discussed and has been gathered.
And I don't think he's creepy.
I don't think he's creepy, like, at all.
No. I think it's just like an old doll because, you know.
I fangirl him hard.
Well, like dolls nowadays, or even, he's just like an old doll. Like they didn't have like the way dolls look now. They didn't have like the painted on faces and the painted on.
Yeah.
Or like the, you know, when they look like they have real eyes and stuff like that. They just didn't have that then.
Yeah.
And so he
has beads and.
Yeah. He looks like an old doll.
Yeah. He's cool.
Yeah. But I mean, he's obviously very well put together.
Yeah.
And been very well maintained.
Right. Yeah, no, he's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love him.
Yeah, I think he's pretty cool too.
And he's believed to be the most haunted doll in the world.
Oh, I can imagine. Isn't there a picture online of his legs like crossed?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to find that one and put it up.
Well, I think his legs are always crossed. I think it was when they became uncrossed.
Okay, well.
Because every time I've seen him, his legs have been crossed as far as my memory goes.
Okay.
But maybe I'm the only one seeing the leg crossing.
I can't remember.
Like, I don't know.
I can't remember if his legs are crossed or uncrossed.
But yeah, I'm a very big fan of Robert the Doll. I think he is cool as fuck. Like, he is my icon.
Clearly.
Like, you fuck with me, you're not nice to me, I'll fuck right back with you.
Yeah, we always, I don't know. We always go see Robert when we're there. And then we
we pay our respects for sure.
Yeah, and we're always very polite and we ask permission.
Yep. Yeah. And I smile at him. Like, I love you. I can't wait him back.
Right.
Every single time.
He probably wants to go home with you.
Probably. He's like, that looks like a cool place to live. I could try out Colorado for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. I love him. I think he's awesome. People are probably going to think I'm so fucking weird. I just think he's great, though.
There are worse things you could love.
Yeah. I definitely don't idolize serial killers. Just haunted dolls.
Right. Okay. That seems safer.
It seems like a better option, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
I liked it.
I love it. I love Robert.
I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's going to be the next one or the next one.
Okay, ready.
Or the next one.
Next. Okay.
If it's going to be 4, 5, 6. I don't know if I have enough to get to 6, though, that really have enough substance.
Okay. Well, that's what I was wondering, too. I was like, what else is there?
There's a lot more.
What else is there?
There's a lot more, but just this was one of the ones that has the most substance, and that's like the most well-known one.
Right. And then the next most well-known one that you're not going to do for a while, I guess, has quite a lot of substance.
Like a lot.
Yeah. I have a book. I think I read a book, and I think I still have the book.
We have the book, unless the puppies chewed it up.
Yeah, there's that.
I don't know. They got one of the Key West books.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I just don't know which one.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all I got.
Cool.
Robert the Doll has an Instagram if you feel so inclined to follow him while you follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, you should follow Robert the Doll on Instagram.
Yes, and ours is That's Disturbing Podcast, which when we post, we should also tag him.
Yeah, totally.
And then you could follow him too, because for people who can't make it to visit him, post some life updates every now and then.
Nice.
And he also has a Twitter, or is it called X now? I don't know. Whatever the correct term for that social media platform is, he's also got one of those.
Cool.
We also have one of those now. We're called @Daphne and Gail. We have no tweets though.
Okay. Gosh, okay. I don't want to tweet.
I don't want to tweet either.
Then why did you do it?
So I could see Robert the Dolls.
Oh, that's fair.
And it's active, actually.
Oh, okay.
So is the gram. And if you have any special case requests, you can send those over to us on our Instagram or to our Gmail at That's Disturbing Podcast. And that's our Instagram. I already said that. That's disturbingpodcast@gmail.com. We have a YouTube channel now as well.
Nice.
Yeah. I figured out how to do that finally. Got my head out of my ass and learned. But we'd like some traction on there too.
Yeah, subscribe to that.
Yeah.
Even if you're already subscribed to the podcast, just go on there and subscribe.
Yeah, you don't have to listen to us on there.
No.
Just subscribe.
Yeah.
Or wherever
but listen to us somewhere.
Yeah, listen to us anywhere you so choose to listen to us. I mean, you could put our episodes on repeat. I don't care. It wouldn't hurt my feelings. You might be pretty done with us after 2 if you listen to it over and over. But I wouldn't blame you for being over it.
That's nice.
I'm like, I say some pretty dumb stuff. You might think I'm an idiot if you don't already. If you don't already think I'm dumb as shit and twice as stupid, give me a follow.
On that note, I think we better roll.
I think we better, wrap it out. Oh, I was going to say, though, if you go to our Instagram and we post this, if you have any guesses as to what the next Key West one is or the next one, I just haven't decided if it's going to be part 4 or 5
The
yet.
next full episode, Key West.
Yeah, the next most popular thing out of Key West.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it in the comments.
Oh,
I
also,
would be
if you've
interested.
seen Robert the doll,
Yeah.
or have had any experiences with Robert or any other haunted dolls.
I haven't had any bad experiences with Robert the doll.
I'd said any experiences. I didn't say
No,
bad.
I was just saying I personally haven't. I've only had good experiences.
Well, any experience or any experience with any kind of haunted doll.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I want to know too.
Inquiring minds want to
Leave
know.
it in the comments.
Yeah, please. Because I bet that would get a big old discussion going.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.